Welcome to Nivi's Toy Story! Hi guys, it's Nivi. I hope you're doing very well and I'm doing good too. Did you watch my last Toy Story, which was The Tortoise and the Bird? Well, I hope you did. Do you know what Toy Story I'm going to tell you today? It is The Dragon's Tale. Let's start. In the ancient times, dragons were greatly feared. They usually live in caves, guarding their precious treasure. But there was one person called St. George. He was known as the Dragon Killer. But the strange thing is that he didn't even kill a dragon before. So let's start this story. In Libya, there was a village called Selene. But the townspeople were very scared of this particular dragon. It was coming nearer and nearer, and the more nearer it gets, the more scared and terrified the townspeople get as well. So, all the politicians, the ministers gathered around, and also the king came. The first minister said, "This is a disaster. We have to do something." And then he said, "Oh, okay." So every day the townspeople have to give the dragon to sheep. But after a few weeks, they were running out of sheep and they needed some sheep for themselves as well. So one minister says, "Oh no, this is a disaster. We have to do something. What shall we do, King?" So the king thought and said, "Oh yes, I resist thinking about giving our sheep. But look at what happened now. We're running out of sheep. But if we give our chickens, then it'll run out. So sadly, the only option is to give our children." The ministers were silent. They were alert. They were like, "Why is he doing this? It's the most worst thing to do." But they can't complain as he was the king. So that was the only option and it was no choice. So they gave every child a token, and once they done a raffle, they pick up a number, and then that number, which is the child, are going to the dragon. Sadly, they get eaten. A few weeks later, unfortunately, the princess got picked. The king was like, "Why is this happening? I don't want my child to go. Look, she is a princess. She is very good-minded. I am not giving her to the dragon." But the minister says, "This was a law. You made this law up. So you can't really break the law yourself. Besides, do you know what? She even got the token herself around the first place." The king was in tears and said, "Oh, my precious daughter. Oh, no." So the daughter went to the dragon, was tied up by her hands, and she was laying down on the rocks. And St. George was hearing that conversation and immediately, with action, got on his horse and rode on it as quick as he could. Once St. George arrived at the dragon's cave, the dragon opened his eyes because he overslept, and luckily the daughter, the princess, didn't get eaten. St. George came up to the dragon very bravely and said, "You should be ashamed of yourself. God didn't make you to eat all of us. He probably done it for a good reason." Okay, now, he went to the princess and said, "My lady, you should go back to where you belong and go to your dad, your king. So St. George got a ribbon from the princess's dress and tied it on the dragon's neck. So he brought the princess safely, and with an angry face, St. George said to the dragon, "You should be ashamed of yourself. Come with me." So while they were walking, they went inside the village. The townspeople were like, they were really scared. But obviously, the dragon was controlled by St. George. Safely and happily, the princess came down to his king, and his dad said, "Oh, I miss you." Everyone assumed that his daughter was killed or eaten. They even wrote on the newspaper. But happily, she didn't get eaten. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. Did you like the story? Well, I hope you did. If you like the story, please thumbs up, subscribe, and comment below to tell me what you like about the story. This is Nivi and the Dragon's Tail signing out.